Hello and welcome to the I've Seen Everything Reaction Wrap-Up. My name's Andrew and I'm glad to have you here with me. This is where I share my thoughts, rating, and review following my most recent reaction or watch-along video. To find these reaction and watch-along videos, please visit @SeenEverything over on YouTube. Please be sure to click the follow button here on the podcast, and for those listening on Apple Podcasts, a rating and review would be greatly appreciated. And now, on to this episode's wrap-up for Back to the Future. All right. Well, that's the first one in the can, so to speak. First time doing what probably going to call a favorite reaction to Back to the Future. Well, it's not going to be any surprise to anybody that I really enjoyed this movie. I always really enjoyed this movie. It's the reason I watch it. One of the things I was actually thinking, though, here, since when we normally get to this part of the video and I'm watching a movie that I haven't watched before, I decide on a rating. I wanted to go ahead and look at the rating that I already have for this movie and decide if that's still my rating for the movie or if I think it should be changed. So, bringing up Rotten Tomatoes, which I started putting ratings on a few years ago just to keep track of movies I'd seen. I have over 2,100 ratings, and I'm positive I haven't put them all in there. Back to the Future has a 93% from critics. It has a 95% from the audience, and it has 5 stars from me off the screen. That's a little too bright. Does Back to the Future keep its 5-star score from me? Well, probably isn't going to be a big surprise because there's nostalgia at play here. I'll admit that. There's bias at play here. I grew up watching this movie. It does ask kind of an interesting question. Can we fairly judge the movies that we grew up watching? What was Back to the Future trying to do? Did it do that? And how much did I enjoy it? I enjoyed this movie as a kid. It really lit up my imagination. I think it did that for a lot of people. For a lot of us, this was the first time travel movie we saw, at least people of my age that were born in the 80s and stuff. There were other time travel movies in that time period, but this movie was huge. I mentioned during the reaction that when this movie came out, I watched that documentary recently with Michael J. Fox called Still. It went through his life and it was talking about these time periods. He was shooting Back to the Future during like night shoots. They did do some day shoots, but he was shooting Back to the Future part of the day and he was shooting Family Ties the rest of the day and was just getting taken back and forth to those sets. It was like getting no sleep, essentially. And when this movie came out, he was already one of the biggest stars in the world because Family Ties was a huge show. This came out, this was the biggest movie in the world. Talking about there being other time travel movies out there, this movie was huge. It was just everywhere. Just one of those movies that just takes over everything. And it was also because it was a great movie. Everybody loved it. It's well made. It's very entertaining. It's funny. There's adventure. There's suspense. There's a sci-fi element to it in the time travel stuff. There's a beautiful heartfelt relationship there between Doc and Marty. And it's made by people who know how to make movies well. It just really is kind of the complete package of a movie. Does it hold up now? This is actually one of the reasons I started watching reaction videos is because I don't trust my judgment on things like that if it holds up now. I have the bias of having watched it as a kid in the 80s. I've still enjoyed it all these years. These are some of the movies I did show my kids that they actually do like. Tried to never force my kids to watch movies that were from when I was young. They had interest in a few of them. But I watch reaction videos of people watching this for the first time, and they still really enjoy it too. They're not going to ever have that nostalgia for it, but it seems like it holds up. And for me, I still think it holds up. It's a fun movie. It's a fun watch. It's a good way to spend a couple of hours. Do I think every part of it holds up? Well, no. There's some things that are just of a time period where they don't play necessarily quite as well as they once did. Some of the references you start to lose over time when you're talking about older movies. But I still think there's more than enough there. If somebody who didn't grow up with this didn't feel as strongly about it, I would understand that. In all of these, I would probably understand that. I would understand maybe them giving it a 4. I would question a 3. I would question 3 stars. But is it going to remain a 5 for me? Yes, it's going to remain a 5 for me. I really enjoy it. And I think this movie set out to do a certain thing, and I think it did exactly that. I think it did it very, very well. That's why it stood the test of time. That's why we're still talking about it. That's why you clicked on this video. Why would anybody click on something to do with a movie that came out 40 years ago, almost? Because it's such a beloved movie, because people do still love this movie and talk about it and watch it. Or coming up with interesting castings for fantasy reboots of it. Seeing those videos with Robert Downey Jr. cast as Doc and Tom Holland cast as Marty. Most people probably wouldn't think that I was going to change my rating on it, I would say this one was pretty safe. I wasn't going to. But there are movies, I'm not even necessarily saying the Back to the Future movies, but there are movies. I do end up changing my ratings. I started putting my ratings on Rotten Tomatoes just to keep track of movies I had seen, because I forget sometimes. But there are movies that I've seen and given a certain rating, maybe a high rating, and then gone back later. And it's like, I don't think I like that as much anymore. I don't necessarily think that movie plays as well as I thought it originally did. Or sometimes it goes the other way. Sometimes I don't give something that high a rating, and then I go back and watch it again, maybe pick up different things and I think that movie's better than I gave it credit for. Point being, I feel like there's more to do out here with reaction and commentary videos on movies and television. First-time reactions are great. I plan to do them out here. I've done some already. There are definitely some big franchises and things like that I, for some reason, have missed to this point, and those will make good first-time reactions. But also, if I had my way about it, I want this channel to be a place that people can discuss and celebrate movies and television shows. So I invite you to please do that on this video. Share in the comments your memories and feelings about Back to the Future. When did you first see this movie? What was that like? What are these movies meant to you or your family? Do you have traditions around these movies? Do you not like these movies? Are you one of these people that everyone's loved Back to the Future around you and you've never really been a big fan of it? I'm interested to hear it. So I don't know if this type of video will work. I hope so. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. I have lots of ideas for things I want to do out here, folks, and I hope you'll stick around for it. I really appreciate you being here with me today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for listening to the I've Seen Everything reaction wrap-up. Again, to find these reaction and watch-along videos, please visit @SeenEverything over on YouTube. Please consider following the podcast, and for those on Apple Podcasts, a rating and review are always appreciated. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll meet you here on the next episode.